Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward, and this is Face to Face. Our guest this week is a powerhouse fancy dancer and publisher. Patrick Mitsuing made headlines this year when he performed as part of the Super Bowl celebrations in the U.S. He's also a prolific publisher, speaker, and teacher. He founded Powwow Times, a not-for-profit that is believed to be the largest online media site for Indigenous song, culture, and dance, all to promote revitalizing Indigenous languages and healthy living through Indigenous culture. Patrick, thanks so much for being with us on the show this week.
Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here.
As we can see there, pretty incredible dancing. You were part of the Super Bowl celebrations this year. Can you tell us a bit about what that was like?
I've done many shows throughout the nation, internationally, and, by far, Super Bowl has been one of the coolest, greatest experiences that I ever been a part of. And I'm not even a football fan, so just to see kind of the whole workings of it, the experience of it, the people, the culture of football and sports, and being on like a very international level like that was truly amazing for me.
Well, what was your favorite moment of the Super Bowl?
That's honestly so hard to say. We spent the whole week doing all the Super Bowl activities. We did the opening night on the Monday where both teams were in the same building for the very first time. We danced just after the cheerleaders did their thing. And so that was a really cool experience to be in the Footprint Center. Met a lot of celebrities there. And then throughout the week, we had a lot of engagements. And, we got to see Snoop Dogg and Shaquille O'Neal, like all these major events that were happening during the week. And then, of course, Super Bowl Sunday, walking into the building. And I would think of it like back in the day, Rome, when they had the big gladiator coliseums and the big crowd. It felt something like that to see and witness something that big for the very first time in my life.
Any of those celebrities stick out for you? Your favorite to have met?
For me, it'd be Sean O'Malley because I'm a big UFC fan.
Okay.
So he's a number one rated fighter in the UFC for his weight class, and so I ran into him and told him like he's one of my favorite fighters, and it was such a amazing experience for me.
So how did this all come to be? How did the organizers find out about you?
Yeah, well, in Canada, I run a big media company called Powwow Times, where we do a lot of powwow culture, and we have a good following online. And a lot of engagements, we've been hired throughout Canada, United States, and we ran into a company called Indigenous Enterprise in Arizona who were doing a lot of work with reconciliation for the city, for the Phoenix Suns, and they got the contract for the Super Bowl. And I was one of, a few phone calls that they called out for artists, and the only Canadian artists to be a part of the Super Bowl.
Incredible stuff. There were a number of Indigenous performances. Can you tell us about some of the others that stuck out for you while you were there?
Yeah, for sure. So, Phoenix has been doing a lot of work. I was there, I was getting educated on a lot of things that they've been doing for truth and reconciliation, partnerships with Indigenous people. And so the artwork was contracted out by an Indigenous artist. So a lot of the Super Bowl colors and stuff that represents the area was done by Indigenous artists. They had an Indigenous sign language person to interpret what was being said. They did the land acknowledgement for the very first time. I believe there was a couple Indigenous athletes as well that were part of the game. And so a lot of the work they were doing was truly amazing, especially opening night, seeing all the people, the artists that were hired locally as well and consulted upon being on the land at Phoenix and the Arizona and the surrounding tribes that they have there.
It used to be about 1 billion people watching the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if it's that many still, but do you think that this raised your profile?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I did this, my phone was ringing, my emails were blowing up. I'm booked as artist. This was a truly amazing opportunity for me to go out and show the world, that our beautiful culture. Everywhere I go, I speak our language. And so I bring our languages to different places. We just sang an honor song for Every Child Matters in front of Buckingham Palace today. And, to honor the residential school survivors and all our ancestors that were part of that system. And so we're able to do things like that to use this reach to bring up issues that everybody should know about.
Awesome stuff. Who taught you how to dance?
Yeah, it was my brother, Nathan Mitsuing. He's someone I looked up to for a long time. He's a grass dancer, but he was a champion grass dancer growing up. And my late dad, Roy Mitsuing, would take us all over to the Powwow circuit ever since we were small. And when I seen fancy dancing for the first time, that's the style I danced, time slowed down for me. And I didn't know what that was, but there's something about that drum beat, something about the colors and the spinning. I remember as a little kid, I pointed, I said, I don't know what that is. I don't know what they're doing, but one day I'm going to do that dance. And then my brother, Nathan Mitchell, kind of mentored me on like dance steps and moves. And then I figured out that it's a lot like a painter. You interpret songs by your movements and you create pictures and you take your viewers who are watching you kind of like on a trance and a journey.
How do you think, dancing and performing helps you connect to your culture?
Yeah, so being around powwows, I get to travel all over North America. And it's one of my favorite things to do is to visit other nations all over the place. And throughout that time, I got to sit with a lot of elders and ask a lot of questions, and they tell me a lot of stories. I got to sit with a lot of veterans, and they would tell me their stories. And I would just meet different knowledge keepers across North America, and it helped me raise the knowledge for myself and take that journey to my roots to start regaining my language back, to start reclaiming these stories back and to share them with our business, Powwow Times.
Patrick, much more to talk about here. We're just going to step aside for a quick commercial break, and then we'll continue the conversation here on Face to Face. Welcome back to Face to Face. Our guest this week is fancy dancer Patrick Mitsuing. Patrick, do you remember your first dance?
I do. It was on my 13th birthday. My late dad told me to walk with him, and we're at Thunderchild Powwow. We walked to this other camp, and this guy opened up his trunk, and it was those vehicles that were pretty big in the long cars. Opened up this trunk. I remember him pulling out a fancy dance outfit. It was purple, and my jaw literally dropped to the ground because I was dreaming and practicing for years, wanted for that moment to be a fancy dancer. And then when I finally put my gear on, I felt like, maybe like Superman going into a phone booth and coming out as a superhero, putting on my outfit and going out there and dancing was, a surreal moment for me because I felt free of any problems or any issues. I was 13 years old, and I never looked back after that.
Awesome story. Patrick, how do you think you perfected your technique?
They say, you put 10,000 hours into something, you're going to start getting to that professional level. I think that I'm probably put in that amount of time and effort into that. But pay homage to, my home reservation, Mackliftegagan First Nation. That's where a lot of hours are put in. And then when YouTube finally came out and Facebook, tons of videos watched studying other champions that I got to see from the United States, different areas. And just mimicking, you mimic what the champions are doing and you develop your own style. And I believe that's what I did all throughout the years, develop this unique style of how I dance. And now I see a lot of little kids mimicking me, and, that makes me real happy.
Absolutely. As somebody from a First Nation in Saskatchewan who's gone on to probably the biggest stage, the Super Bowl, and all these other things, what is your message to other dancers out there?
Dancing for me, it's a way of life. All my kids dance. I take my kids and my family on the Powwow Trail. And they say take care of your outfit, take care of your feathers, and take care of this dance because it'll take care of you. And I really got to experience that, especially over the last few years. Our impact that we've been able to make in community, our impact that we've been able to make, nationally, and our message, of living a healthy lifestyle, taking care of yourself, loving your grandparents, loving your family, and being grateful for everything that you have. If you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, you have people to talk to, people who love you, to be grateful for that. And that's my message, especially to youth, to work on yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And when you take care of this dance, you take care of yourself, beautiful things will happen.
Beautiful message there as well. Patrick, dancing is just part of what you do. Can you tell us about Powwow Times?
Yeah, so Powwow Times, we host a lot of events. We do major powwows. We help launch the Calgary Stampede Powwow. We have our own international powwow in Red Deer, Alberta, that happens every October. We have a big Cree program, so people want to learn the language, the Plains Cree wide dialect. We reach hundreds of thousands of people on our Facebook. We do a lot of interviews with elders, just try to help regain and retain this knowledge and generation, or people who are actually, and that's what our company does. We do a lot of education in schools and municipalities, flag raising ceremonies, a lot of reconciliation work with non-Indigenous people. And so it's been a passion of mine to connect people back to culture, because, we're averaging about 50% of our people living off reserve now, and they don't have connection to elders. They don't have connection to their Indigenous ways. They say, Miho Mampinichigani Bachita. That's an Indigenous way of thinking. And sometimes watching our social media is the first step back to that journey of their culture. So that's what Powwow Times is.
Awesome. What sparked the idea for Powwow Times?
The idea actually came because I was traveling around different places, learning about marketing, learning about online marketing and affiliate marketing. And then I would stop that, and then I would do powwows. And then I'd go back, when powwow season was done, back to marketing. And then one day, our powwow Nakwasagegan First Nation was coming up. I was like, why don't I make a promo video about our powwow coming up? And I didn't want to put it on my own page, so I created a Facebook page, and I was thinking, New York Times, LA Times, Powwow Times. Yeah. So we set up that page, we put the video out, and it went viral. And I was like, man, there must be something to this, because people are sharing this video. They're very interactive with it. So we decided to record our whole powwow, and I posted it on our page, and then that went viral. And then I knew we had something from right there.
Well, it's said to be the largest site. How many subscribers do you have, and are they coming from just Canada, or?
Yeah, we reach like almost every country in the world. We have close to 200,000 subscribers on our Facebook, over 40,000 on our YouTube. Those are our main channels that we do. And our analytics, we get a lot of engagement, so we reach millions of people every single month. And it's just cool that people are engaging and open to learn about our culture. And we find that it's the fastest growing sector for tourism is people coming to Canada wanting to spend time with Indigenous people.
You provide more than just videos. Can you tell us about the regalia that you offer to develop for dancers starting out?
Yeah, definitely. So we also do online programs because it's hard sometimes to find those knowledge keepers, and we want to bring out more dancers. Dancing saved my life and gave me a really good life and a lot of blessings to me, and I want to give that to as much people as I could, especially the young Indigenous male youth out there, or anyone wanting to dance men's fancy. They could go to our website, makebustles.com, and we give them a step-by-step video on how to make your regalia. And then we're going to be rolling out more than the fancy dance. We're going to do the jingle, the traditional, the grass dance, so they can learn how to create that. And then we're going to offer free dance classes online so they can learn how to dance. The basic steps, and hopefully introduce them to the world of powwow.
Good stuff, Patrick. More to talk about. We just need to step aside for one last break, and then we'll continue the conversation here on Face to Face. Stick around.
Awesome.
Welcome back to Face to Face. Our guest this week is Patrick Mitsuing. Patrick, your mission is to share Indigenous culture with the world. Where have you been?
Yeah, I've been basically almost in every state in Canada. In the United States, almost every province in Canada. I've been to Nunavut. Right now, I am touring the UK. We were in Paris last week. I'm currently in London. In a few weeks, I'll be in California, and then we'll be in Japan at the end of April. So kind of everywhere, but it's just rolling like that. And then also a lot of Indigenous communities locally.
Like you mentioned earlier that you're in the UK. Can you tell us a bit about what you're doing in Europe right now?
Yeah, definitely. So in Paris, we danced there at the Canadian ambassador of France in his palace. And that was cool because they haven't experienced that within that palace before, the songs and the music. And we're here with Travel Alberta, Indigenous Tourism Alberta, help promote tourism and help lift up the Indigenous businesses within the area that I currently reside. Doing the same thing here tomorrow at the London Bridge. And, same thing to promote our Indigenous culture, create spaces for our Indigenous entrepreneurs back home, and put a light on them. So when people are thinking about, traveling to Alberta, that they have those experiences that they want to have with our Indigenous people.
What's been the international response to the work that you do?
It's a lot of eye-opening. A lot of times what people learn about Indigenous people is from Hollywood, and they don't really understand the people and the truth and the history of it. And so it's a lot of education, that sometimes that even happens back home. When I working with a lot of non-Indigenous organizations, it's a lot of this education. And so it's been eye-opening for our viewers, but them hearing the music and watching our dances, you can see them really light up and be so amazed because they've only seen it on pictures or National Geographic or, on movies.
Mm-hmm. Powwow Times has other dancers and performers. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, we have a large connection of artists. We curated international award-winning museum exhibit as well. And we get a lot of artists. We hire a lot of them who are professional in their crafts. Currently, I'm traveling now with one of our artists, Jackson Tahuka, our artist, Marissa Mitsuing, and Kenneth Shirley, who's one of our international artists. But we have a whole list, a laundry list of amazing people, part of our team that delivers a lot of art and culture and language for everybody.
Well, why is it important for you to be part of this, bringing Indigenous culture to the world stage?
I just think we're a beautiful people and we've been misinterpreted, the stereotypes that we have. And I want to do my work so my kids and their kids don't experience some of the racism that I experienced growing up with some of the hardships. And I wanted to make it a lot easier for people to accept who we are, accept our culture, and the relationships we have with the Crown and the treaties to be honored. And a lot of those things are very important for me, that my kids get an education where they can learn their language, an education where they can be on the land, an education where it's okay to be Indigenous and be proud to be Indigenous. And so that's a lot of my work that I do. I have my heart with our youth.
Are your kids already into the dancing?
They are, they're champion dancers, they're professional artists already. And I think that I'm the role model that I wanted to have growing up for my kids. And so I'm trying to set a good example for them. And so they dance all over Canada, United States, and they do very well. I'm super proud of them.
Awesome stuff. Patrick, like you said, especially over in the UK and France, it's a lot of stereotypes from Hollywood and stuff. Do you think the work that you're doing there is, pushing forward some reconciliation, not only there, but back over here too?
Definitely back home. And for here, this is just the start. Back in the day, the Buffalo Bill Wild West show came over here, and he gave education to the people here, portraying us as barbarians and savages. And so when we talk with the locals, they talked, some bad things about what they've been educated about, what we were as people and who we are. And so this is just the groundwork, seeds, especially in this area, to talk about, they never even heard about residential schools here. And so it's just that beginning groundwork. And so when they come and we're inviting them to, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Western Canada, all Canada in general, to do Indigenous tourism, to come learn the truths, and come eat with us, come talk with us, let us share our stories, and then they can come back more educated.
Anything coming up for you after the Europe trip?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we'll be in California, we'll be in Japan, and then we're working on our National Indigenous Day event in Red Deer, and that will lead us straight to our powwow that we're doing. We're in talks with Universal Pictures to do a powwow in Los Angeles, and then just helping different communities launch their powwows as well. We're talking with the Okanagan Valley in BC, Fort Mac in Alberta, so different places. Even some big companies that are non-Indigenous want to see about hosting Indigenous people, and so we'll keep that one secret for a bit and see what we can do with it.
Sounds cool. I don't know that there's bigger stages maybe than the Super Bowl or the London Bridge. Are there places though that you'd still like to perform?
I love our people. My heart's with our Indigenous people. I would love to tour every reservation in the United States and Canada, and keep continuing that journey of learning myself. And those are where I love performing. I love meeting our Indigenous youth, different places, and hearing their stories, and possibly, giving them some advice, because I figured some things out in my life, and help as much as I can.
Well, maybe we'll be lucky to see you on the Powwow Trail here in Manitoba this coming summer.
Love it.
Patrick, appreciate you taking some time for us. We want to leave a bit of time here for some of your dancing. Best of luck on the trip there. Have a safe journey, and thanks for all the work that you do, and thanks for being with us this week.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And that is all the time we have for this week's show. If you want to give it a listen, this show and all of our past episodes are also available as podcasts. You can download those wherever you find your podcasts. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks so much for being with us this week. We're going to leave you with some of Patrick dancing. We'll see you back here on Face to Face next Tuesday.